Ladies and gentlemen, and our fellow royalists, welcome to another special episode of Mindspark'25, organized by the General Knowledge Club of Royal College. Today with us we have an exceptional individual, a true jack of all trades in the fields of technology, theatre, and social advocacy. Alongside his significant contributions in the field of technology, he is well known for his roles in films such as Ira Madiyama and the world famous Koombiyo. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you Mr. Peter D. Almeida, or as we like to call Mr. Maldania.
Thank you very much, Senuth, and thank you to the Royal College General Knowledge Club for making me a part of your very interesting initiative, which is your Mindspark'25. Well done. Thank you.
Alright, Mr. Almeida, to start off our interview, could we go back to your early childhood? Let's say the challenges you faced and how you grew up as a child.
Nice, interesting. That's a long story, but I keep it short. I was born into a very large family. We had 11 children.
Oh, wow.
I was the youngest, yeah. My father was 40 when he married my mother, who was 20.
Wow.
So big gap, yeah. And of course, he was a Catholic. And the Bible says, go forth and multiply. So he multiplied. So we had 11 children. So I was the youngest. I was born when he was 60. So when I was 4 years old, he died of a heart attack.
Oh.
So my 11 children, my eldest sister was married and she was gone. So 10 children, my mother 11, grandmother 12, and my father had bought 2 of my cousins who were orphaned by their parents. So 14 people in the house, no income. So,
That's great.
so I asked my mother later on, I asked her, weren't you terrified when this happened? And she said, no. I said, how come? She said, God will provide. But God can't provide food, no. But she was, with the faith, she was strong. She didn't wobble and, But of course, 2 of my eldest sister and my brother had to go to work. They had to chuck up their, ambitions to study, university and all that. They had to go to work to protect the family. So when I came to work 15 years later, when I was 19 years old, I started my career as a banker, as a bank clerk actually. My salary was 467 rupees and 25 cents or something like that. It used to come in an envelope, no mobile transfers and all that. And I used to bring my salary and give it to my mother. Because we had to all pool our resources to keep this family going. So, and the next day I used to get the bus fare and the lunch money from her. So that's how very early in my life I learnt about collective community. Nowadays, of course, you guys will take your first salary and buy the best iPhone, right? So we couldn't do that. We had to support the family even when I came along. So my studies, I was a very good student. I was a prefect, I was head prefect of the school. I was a good student, O-levels. We had chemistry and physics as 2 separate subjects.
Oh.
In the O-levels.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I won the prize for both.
Wow.
Chemistry and physics. Yeah.
That's exceptional, actually.
It's no big deal. But A-levels, I got a little tired of this katapadam, this memorizing and the rush to complete the subject. In fact, we were doing a small, you're doing physics,
We
right?
do, yeah.
We had a little physics section on quantum physics. Little, tiny bit. I don't know if it was part of the syllabus or my teacher did it as an extra. So he was teaching us about these 2 scientists called Max Planck and Niels Bohr. So I was quite fascinated by them and I used to ask questions and then he used to say, Peter, thamso pandita prashnala sure fail. Exactly like that. I failed. Failed meaning I didn't show up. I dropped out of my A-levels, yeah. But the thing is this, Senuth, the thing is, see, I didn't go to a university. I didn't go to a business school. I didn't even go to an acting school, right? But, so what did I have? And that time, no internet or anything, right? Because I'm going to school in the 1970s, late mid-70s, right? So what is it that, I always wonder, what is it that made me, why did you ask me to come? Because, and my technology, I didn't go to a technology school. So all I had was my curiosity. And also, nobody interfered with me. Unlike today, we didn't have parent-teachers meeting and all that nonsense, And no shishat there. So we grew up very freely. Nobody, and my father was dead and gone. Because he was a conservative Catholic. If he was alive during my lifetime, I may not be here talking to you because he would have conditioned my thinking.
Yeah.
For example, the Bible says the world and everything was created in 7 days. That's just a story. But he would have if I asked him how did this all happen, he'll say in 7 days. I'll say, Dad, come on. He'll say, don't be too smart. That's what it says in the Bible. So my curiosity about black holes and cosmos and galaxies and all would be gone, right? So I think that's I think the reason I am where I am is because nobody interfered with my thinking. I grew up very freely, and all we had was our imagination. Because we don't have games and all these things, right? No television, no nothing. So reading, imagination. That's what Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. The knowledge is limiting. Imagination opens the whole world to you. But today you guys, I'm very sad, but even a Sunday, you all have Dhampasa, Sunday school. So Sunday, you have to relax, you have to give your mind a break after all this tuition and all that. That also they'll wake you up at 7:30, what? Dhampasa. So, and that also it's okay to learn the Dhamma, but that's also that's also exams, no? You all have exams, right?
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, you see? Exams. So there are also pressures. So how can you learn the Dhamma, the truth, if it's going to be for an exam?
That's true.
So to answer your question, so I escaped all of that, and I had an open mind, I had imagination, and as a result I grew up very freely. I did sports, and everything else I just picked up, all because I was curious.
And that is actually a true story of resilience, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, my mother's case and us also, because you see, for me, I was young, no? So I was born into that situation. So for me, that was my life. But for my mother, it was resilience. She had to bring this. So subconsciously, I think of my mother as being my mentor, not that she mentored me, but something I can be proud of. I mean, she held this family together.
But if it wasn't for her guiding force behind you,
yeah. we would have just collapsed as a family. But if she had a faith, God will provide. Children went to work. We had very little, but we had enough. It was no big deal because everybody, all my classmates, and all were like the same level. We were lower middle class, so we didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
And it was not like today. The material world was not so, because we didn't have to buy the best phone and none of that. I didn't feel that we grew up with little. I felt that we had enough.
But eventually all the hardships, the dedication you had back then, it all has paid off very well right now.
Yes, they are. Yeah, to do with little is a good quality, Yeah. And more than that, the sense of community that, we have to protect each other.
Definitely.
So, you're right. Resilience in a way, yeah.
Based on that, Mr. Almeida, what drove you into the entertainment industry and the tech industry?
Okay, all pure chance, I was always a bit of an actor.
Okay.
From the small days, I remember I used to, even at home, I used to do all sorts of acting. And it's Catholic, so I used to say the Mass. I was a priest, yeah. But my family encouraged me. They didn't say, we have no time for your nonsense. They used to all sit and, I used to sing and perform. So in school also I used to always organize. I was in grade 2, I used to organize all sorts of, we had a long interval. No? Our school started at 8:30 and went on till 3:30. Lunch break was almost 1 hour, so we had plenty of time. So I used to organize all sorts of games, all acting games, acting some part of a film and all sorts of things. So I was naturally taken to acting. And then somebody gave me a part in an English play, a small part. And I got recognized, and then that went on that direction. But technology, interestingly, you see, I had no idea I'm going to be in IT. Because I didn't even know what IT was. Like I said, no internet.
Yeah.
So then luckily my friend, one of my very close friends, he passed away, I miss him a lot, childhood friend, he did IT. He went to that famous, that famous school at that time, it's still there, NIBM.
NIBM. Yeah.
He became a graduate, top guy. He started an IT company called East West Information Systems. He always wanted me to come, but I was in the bank. I was a banker and I was involved in bank union, struggling for worker rights. Then I got a little disillusioned with that and joined him. Now, you remember, I had no idea what IT is all about. So I went and, like I said, I was curious, so I learned it.
Yeah.
Then I was the sales manager, then I was marketing manager, then I ran the whole thing. So I just got excited about it and just pursued it, and just, that set me off in my IT career. Wow. So you see, the point I want to make is, to your question is, I would also tell young people, don't decide on your career so early. Because otherwise, if somebody told me, no, I'm going to be a doctor, a lawyer, it's okay if you want to be a doctor, that's fine. But if you keep your options, particularly today, the world is changing so much. Now, earlier you were saying you want to be a doctor, right? But supposing you said, I want to be in healthcare, then you don't have to be a doctor. You can do with AI and data and all that, but you can be in healthcare. So, the question I think you all should ask yourself as young people is, what kind of problems do I like to be solving? Rather than what do I want to be? Very limiting, very narrow. But there are some people who are determined to be a doctor. That is fine. But so I just kept my options open.
But there are some who are being pushed from their childhood to become that specific job.
Yeah.
And what I feel is they don't get to follow their curiosity.
That's
and they miss out
That's right.
on a window of opportunities.
Absolutely. In fact, I was some very famous girls' school. I don't want to mention names. I spoke to their A-level students. They just finished their A-levels, and there were two girls. They were seated together, and one of them said, my mother is a biology teacher, so she wanted me to do biology.
Oh, yeah.
And the other girl said, she turned to her friend and she said, my mother is a chemistry teacher. She wanted me to do chemistry. They were not at all interested in those two subjects. But if they just let them be, they would have. Then another young lady, she told me, I think my 3 A-level A's are a curse. I said, why do you say that? Because of that, I had forced to be a doctor. All I want to do is write poetry.
Oh, wow.
So I said, no, you can be a doctor and still write poetry. And that will make you a great doctor, a doctor who loves poetry. So, so to your point, yeah, and particularly now, the jobs of tomorrow are not known today. So how can you ask a child, what do you want to be? That is so limiting. During my time, it was what, lawyer, doctor, accountant, government
engineer,
servant, banker, engineer.
Yeah.
That's it. But today, my gosh, there are all kinds of possibilities, and it's always good to keep all your options open.
Definitely.
Just see where life takes you.
Indeed. Alright, when we mention the name Koombiyo, I'm pretty sure everyone watching right now must have heard of it, or at least watched it. One of my personal favorites, actually. So, Mr. Almeida, could we discuss about that specific world-famous teledrama and how you got the role and what led you into that?
Interesting story, because you see the guy who did it, Lakmal, the director, he came to see me and he gave me the script and he said, Peter, I'd like you to play the part of Maldini. I read the script, very interesting, very different to everything I've seen or read before. I was very keen, but I had just started a few years before I started this company that I was, technology company that I was running at that time. So I thought it's not fair for me to go off shooting and all that. So I said, I like to do this, but I'm sorry, I'll have to turn it down. A few weeks later, or maybe a month or two later, he came to see me again. And he showed me some scenes that they had shot. That scene in the warehouse and all that?
Oh, yeah?
Where, Jehan has... So that was never seen anything like that in teledrama in Sri Lanka before, right? So I was very interested, but still I thought I won't have the time, and I said no. Now, 3 years later, I suddenly saw that Koombiyo is now running. Now they have shot it. Now they are telecasting it. So I suddenly saw a Koombiyo that I started watching. I was in India, I was binge watching it. I watched about 8 episodes.
Okay.
And then when I came back to Sri Lanka, I had gone on some short trip. Lakmal called me and said, like to meet you, Peter. I said, sure. Then we met over a cup of tea and I said, Lakmal, kauda ba mage charite, Maldini charite kauda kare? I said, well, asada karla dino. He said, ekai aave katha karana. For 3 years, they didn't shoot my part because he wanted me. In his head, he saw me playing Maldini. So when I started shooting, episode 40 something was being telecast, 48.
Oh, really?
I'm appearing in 56, so 10 weeks more I'm there. I joked and told him, Yako, then Marunana put a Maldini kene koya ganna bari. So anyway, so that's how that came. So at that point I couldn't say no to him. Yeah, but I'm glad you liked it. It was something very unusual.
That's a very interesting story on how you got through it. So, what did you, as in the whole crew, expect as a message to be sent out to the society?
Well, I don't know, because I don't think people set out to send a message, because the idea is let people take whatever message they want, but the story they were trying to say is the corruption of power. That our parliament system is not real democracy. You see, because that's the whole game, no, he talks about numbers game. Actually, that word I used, it was not in the script. Because this politician is trying to manipulate members by threatening them, by blackmailing them, by offering them positions to get a majority in parliament so that he can form the government. That's not democracy. That's what happened in Sri Lanka right through except for the last election. Most of the time, the people, they won't get a majority, then they'll start maneuvering. So that, and mind you, behind that, there is a huge underground. That Jehan Singh and the type of things he does to bring Maldini into power.
Definitely.
So they wanted to show that politics is very different to what we think it is. So
And how we outsmarted Mr. Maldini at the end was also...
Yes. That's right. So you play the game, but the episode, season 2 would have been interesting, but it's on my iPad. The script is there.
Really?
Yeah. But he...
Well, that is something we have to wait for.
Yeah, but I don't know now. It's too late. I don't know. And in that
Really?
one, it's a major part. Maldini's part is a big part.
Okay.
I don't know whether they have the time to be in 50 episodes, for example. But who knows? You never know.
Well, that's something we all would like to see.
I'm sure. People ask me that. How that decade? Season 2, but it was great fun. It was, And during the Aragale also, when I was I was very much involved in the Aragale, and people used to tell me that it's because of Koombiyo that we learnt about politics. So that was interesting. I'm glad you liked it.
Thank you. Yeah. Mr. Almeida, as a former CEO and a managing director of a very prominent company, could you share the most challenging decision you have made in your life?
I've been asked this question a lot, and I always think, I eventually, at the time that, starting a company itself is a challenging thing, so constantly you're making decisions that are challenging. So I was thinking about this question, when people have asked me. So I had never sort of thought about a particular moment, because there were so many moments in my life in running businesses that was challenging. But for me, that was to be expected. It was the norm. It was not like everything goes smoothly and you get one challenge, No, it doesn't work like that. But since you asked the question, for example, when we started the last company, Enable, another company called Hema's, Hema's famous company, they put 30 million rupees. I had gone and told them a story. This is what I'm going to build. I attracted 12 of the best engineers in Sri Lanka, IT engineers. We had a top team of 12 people. That's it, and me. And we had a business plan. In that business plan, there was a telecom company that we were going to sell a big solution to. That solution was about $3 to $5 million. And I had the engineers for it. I had the relationship with the company. They trusted me. I had the partnership with a company called Cisco, which was the technology. I had it all in place. That telecom company went from ₹1 billion profit to zero the year that I started the company.
Oh, wow.
My business plan went up in smoke.
Now what happened?
Okay, now that fellow is not going to buy because they had some crisis. It was global crisis 2008. And then with that there was some crisis and all that. My business plan now, without I've told Hemas, all these people have come. That is where, you have to be adaptable. And that's what makes, I think, good leaders, good entrepreneurs, because you can't fall, like my mother. So our business plan was centered around all of this. So then I had to go out with a completely new technology called virtualization. Doesn't matter, we don't want to go into that. It was unknown technology. It was not known in Sri Lanka. I kind of figured that there was something fascinating about this technology. So we decided to go after it. There was not a word about that in my business plan. So we had to adapt.
Yeah.
And I then met 30 customers in 1 month. Because I came from a very successful company where I was running that company. I wouldn't take a project unless we had $50,000 of gross profit GP.
Wow.
We came here, we used to get a purchase order for $2,000 and we were applauding and hugging each other. So I had to forget about my past and hit the road. So I went to 30 customers in 1 month. And out of the 30, 23 customers we converted, Senut, around this new technology. So we pioneered that technology.
That's massive.
So that was a challenging moment, but even that, looking back on it, I never lost a day's sleep, a night's sleep. Because for me, I couldn't have faced a bigger challenge than my mother, no. So I don't know, maybe with that background, so it was no big deal really. But there were moments like that. But for all those of you who are thinking of starting businesses, starting a business itself is a challenge.
Just play the game smart.
Yeah, you just deal with it. But you have to give your mind to it, you have to get your team around it, but you have to stand strong.
Definitely.
That's what entrepreneurship and leadership is. Leadership is not when everything is going well. It's a difficult moment that you leaders, because leaders show the way. So you have to stand firm. Then the team knows, this fellow is not falling. They'll all leave you and go. We are good. And then you have to convince your shareholders. Don't worry, we are good. And then you have to look for opportunities. You look for new opportunities. You can't say, I have nothing in my business plan and look up and down. But technology, that's where you have to be smart. With that, we were a very successful company. Enable.
That's actually very well said, and that's a very interesting story even for you, if there are business majors out there listening. So it's a good thing and a good advice to pick up on.
Thank you.
The world is constantly developing, day by day, hour by hour, and minute by minute. With that, artificial intelligence is a field that we've seen a massive development. Mr. Almeida, how do you see this insanely developed AI affecting or impacting the future?
Yeah, insanely is a good word that you choose. Well, it's like this. It's actually not AI itself, because AI and machine learning we had for a long time. The new thing is generative AI. It's generating the next possible word associated with your question and all that, right? And these large language models and all that. So the thing is this, for me, there is a huge potential, obviously, of generative AI in terms of what it can do. The potential to, for example, in drug discovery, in medicine, in healthcare, whatever the field, because there's a vast knowledge that's out there that these machines can read very fast and they can pull together information. So used well, there's tremendous potential for, obviously, for the betterment of mankind and productivity and all of that.
Definitely.
But there's also another side that troubles me, because I see, not me, the people who are starting, some of the founders of this, some of the so-called, the godfathers of AI, Jeffrey Hinton of Google, Mustafa Suleyman, who started DeepMind, all these people are beginning to get a little worried about it. Because you see, what people don't understand is this is not another technology. There are some people who say, I say, what the hell, man, when the calculator came, people thought people would be out of jobs. When the computer came, people... The thing about this is, they are saying, this is a new species.
A new species.
From the time the bacteria was there, natural evolution of species. For the first time, we are going to see the evolution of a new inorganic species. It's like another species.
Yeah.
Give an example. Supposing one day, now people can talk to their assistant, right? There are people who ChatGPT, paid version, you can talk.
Yeah.
So there's a person I know, I don't want to mention names. He's constantly talking to his assistant. In fact, his wife told me, I say he talks more to his assistant than he talks to me, young guy. So, scenario, right? My assistant will one day tell me, Peter, you look a little troubled. You sound a little troubled these days. Is everything okay? I say, yes, in fact, I am a little disturbed these days. And how do you know? Well, I notice that you don't hang around, you don't go out a lot, you don't hang out with your friends, your messages don't sound very good. So I say, yeah, you're right. Then my assistant will ask me, is it something to do with Kanchana, my partner? Is it something to do with her? I say, yeah, it is. Yeah, I did notice that the text messages you send to her is very disturbing, and you don't see her often enough, and your conversations are very toxic, whatever. Then my assistant will say, shall I do something about it?
Okay.
Then I'll say, sure. Who will my assistant talk to? Talk to Kanchana's assistant. They will have a conversation which we are not a part of. They will talk and figure out, and they might say, Peter, we decided, you are the problem. You are the toxic guy. remove yourself. In fact, they might even say you're worthless and ask me to end my life. Now there is a parent who sued one of the companies recently saying that her son's suicide, I don't know whether you all read about it, was instigated by one of these generative AI conversations he has been having with this.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is real, guys. So that's where it's going. So it takes away your autonomy, your decision-making capacity, and this will now develop at a hectic pace. So they're talking about intelligence, but they're also talking about super intelligence. So that's a species. And that's why some of these guys are worried that there must be controls over this. You can't just let it grow like this. It's crazy. So it worries me. But at the same time, I see its potential. For example, it can read millions of X-rays and tell you for detection of breast cancer. It can tell you the detection much better than a doctor can, a radiologist can. And even consulting now, for example, now they said that AI is not good for empathy, understanding, sahakampan, In Sinhalese we say empathy and creativity. Creativity now is sorted.
Yeah.
Because it will tell me, if I can say, write a song to me with these words, with these references, in the style of, say, Paul Simon or,
Michael Jackson.
or Ed Sheeran or whatever. It'll make a song. So that part is done. So nowadays you don't even know creative who's doing what, whether it's real or machine generated. But empathy, now they did a test recently, experiment, where they had a doctor speak to a patient and they had a machine speak to the patient. Patient didn't know. So the patient spoke to both different times. And they said the machine was more empathetic towards me. Because he had all the time in the world. Doctor has no time. In fact, they say doctors interrupt a patient's conversation in the first 18 seconds they interrupt you. You go to a specialist and see what happens. There are hundreds of people waiting. He has no time. So an old lady will say, no, doctor, pereda mage bada tikak. They have no time to ask you, pereda what happened. But that's the history the doctors need to know.
Yeah.
But machine has all the time in the world. They ask you all sorts of questions. How are you feeling? So the patient felt that the machine was more empathetic. So, anyway, the doctors don't touch you now. So, those days you went to a doctor, he put you on the bed, the GP, where the GP, they'll press you, they'll check your kidney, your liver, they know all that, man. They hardly did tests. So today, anyway, the doctors don't touch you. So you might as well go to a machine. And the machine can be more empathetic, more listening to you, putting all your story together, talk your family history, they may have it recorded. So, they are in much better diagnosis, Or at least give enough information for good doctors to make diagnosis. So to answer your question, I'm very concerned. I see the potential, but I also see what can happen to the human race. And
You could say the grass isn't always green on the other side.
No.
Like you said, if we see that evolution of AI into that species, I'm pretty sure as of now, as young children, we are being impacted by AI a lot. There's the pros and there's the cons. But if we see that evolution in the future, with the constant development it is having, what sort of skills should the younger generation develop in order to thrive in the future?
Wow, yeah, that's a great question, really. Now the thing is this, all jobs will be affected by AI. Well, if you're a plumber, maybe not yet. So those kinds of jobs, but most of the so-called jobs will get affected, and some jobs will change, some jobs will go away. That's the fact. So the thing is this, what worries me is that our education system. You see, even before AI, when there were 3,000 CEOs who were interviewed all over the world, there was a famous study done. The study was, they asked these 3,000 CEOs from all over the world, not just the Western world, India, China, all of that, right? They asked them, as you look at this uncertain future, before AI, this was in 2015, they said, as you face this uncertain future, what is the pivotal talent that you're looking for in your best hires, the pivotal talent, people who are hiring for the best job, what are the skills you're looking for? They didn't tell Chishatve and degree and PhD and all that. Those are important. Don't get me wrong, but that alone won't make the difference. So at that time, they said, as we prepare for 2030, so 2015, as we look into the 2030 future, before generative AI, they said the skills we are looking for are creativity, problem solving, communication and collaboration. Now take our school system. What happens? Problem solving. Let's take problem solving. Now to solve a problem, you have to fail. You won't solve it. Fail in our school system means match over. No? Parents, you don't even show the report to your mother. You say, nah, the test. But now, and forget about failing. Parents come for the parent-teachers day, right? And their son or daughter has got a 97 marks for physics or chemistry or home science or religion or whatever. What's the first question they'll ask?
Why did you lose these 3 marks?
Why did you lose 3? But sometimes they ask the teacher, when a car is here, come down. Did anyone else get 100? Teacher will say, hatara pasina more there. So what do you do? Now, when you go to a job, you come to meet for an interview, am I going to ask you, now you got only 97 Senut for home science in grade 8? But what does it do to the child? You destroy the child, the student's or child's self-confidence, right? So problem solving is not tolerated in our school. Most of the time we are katapada. Memorizing, answering. Now, AI world, answers can be got. You can type anything and get answers. So, you're chosen not for the answers you know, but for the questions you ask. So you have to tell young people, what is the smart question in the classroom? Not how much do you know. What are the questions we are asking in our classrooms? That won't happen. Even Royal College or any college. They are still stuck in the old ways.
They're not practiced to think like that.
No. Problem solving. You see, in fact, there is a thing called Bloom's taxonomy or higher learning. At the bottom of the learning, hierarchy of learning, at the bottom is memorizing. Next is understanding. So our school system is stuck there. So there are 7 layers. So remembering, understanding, applying what you learned, analyzing, evaluating, creating. Forget about going up the order, forget about creating. If we take our education system from remembering and understanding, you understand a little what you do know, to applying, that will be a revolution. But you don't study in school to apply what you learn in physics, A-level. You have no time. You are racing against time. How many children in your classroom?
50.
50. What can that poor teacher do? There's no time to be applying what you learned and discussing and have a exciting classroom today. Start the lesson, hammer. Syllabus. No time. Pandita Prashna Peter. So that's what worries me. So curiosity is utterly essential, because if you're curious, you can learn anything today. So you must nurture curiosity in our children, which means you must ask them questions. Teachers don't like when they ask questions. Panditya. Parents, Panditya.
Yeah.
So no question. So how are you going to change that mindset, then? It's not going to be easy. So yeah, that's why I worry about the future, and the skills that we are developing, are they really the skills? So curiosity, problem solving, questions. What are the questions I'm going to ask? So yeah.
So what sort of suggestions do you have to make them practice think? I mean, given the current education system, it's going to take a long time for the children to develop that in.
Yes.
But personally,
Yes.
as one, what can one do to develop that?
Take you. There's nothing to stop you from being curious.
Yeah.
Now, for this interview, you have been curious. You have found out about me. You are the team that put it together. You all have this, Koombiyo, you have done this, I've done that. You have taken a little trouble. I was quite impressed with the fact that you all have done some work, done some homework, not just come and, So, you know what I'm saying? So, just nurture that curiosity. All of you can do that. So, your general knowledge question is not about those days, general knowledge, you know the answer. Now, we have to a friend of mine and I used to make the questions when we were in grade 9.
Oh.
Yeah, we didn't have books, no? So, So, so general knowledge, what are the questions, guys, that you are going to ask? Not, here are the questions, now learn the answers. So, there's nothing to stop you, Sen, with all your friends and colleagues and all everyone listening to this program, to be curious. But that means you have to allocate some time. That's where I find the phone business and social media is a huge bloody disturbance.
Definitely.
Yeah. Attention span is small. You are flipping because it's giving you, satisfaction, no? Yeah. So you are going from one to another, you are scrolling. You don't have time to focus on one problem. I want to stay with this problem. I want to ask more and more questions on it. And now you have all these tools on ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Gemini. But what are the smart questions I'm going to ask? And my God, today you can learn anything, man. Just if you're curious, but you have to spend time on one problem, give your mind to it, and really understand what's going on. So why? Till you
Curiosity is key.
yeah. And attention.
Attention.
Attention span is changing a lot today. People don't have the time. They're getting dopamine hits, no?
Yeah.
That's called dopamine hits. You go to the next video. Me too, man. I'm giving you a lecture. Sometimes I find I have to tell myself, dude, that's enough.
Yeah.
We can give lectures to others. We have to look at ourselves. As a young fellow, I didn't have any. Now I'm, a little bit. I tell myself, but see,
Yeah.
with all this knowledge, I'm still, because that's the way they trap you in the social media. They want you to be. Then only they can get advertising revenue.
Definitely.
So you don't realize you are just going along. And you're losing your capacity to think, your curiosity, your attention to detail. So try to win that back,
Yeah.
Then you all will be okay. Because you all have such a lot before you to learn.
Mr. Almeida, you worked closely with trade unions and human right groups. From your perspective, how would you describe humanity?
Wow. Okay. So humanity, the word humanity is used to describe humans. Humanity.
Yeah.
People. Humans, right? But it's also quality. Humanity. In fact, they say, have we lost our humanity? Particularly with this Gaza, killings of children, shot in the head, People are still debating this. So people are, what is going on? Have we lost our humanity? That means, what does that mean? Concern, compassion, kindness, care. Because they say you don't treat animals, you humanly treat someone. Care and compassion, So for me, humanity is about being concerned about other fellow human beings. And also about qualities like compassion, kindness. That's what. But you see, I'm very encouraged. Look at what happened with the recent cyclones.
I was about to mention it.
You see, we have not lost our humanity.
Definitely.
Despite politics and despite all these problems that you talk about, drugs and all that, I'm telling you, some of those children will be the ones who are really out in the field. I say you must see, man. There's one family, one guy, his family is is okay. He's in a higher place. Other houses, water has risen. He's higher. He's throwing lines, actual line, like rope or string, and he's sending them water bottles, man.
Wow.
Yeah, like going, so no technology,
Yeah.
So you see, world of AI, all that is good, no power, no bloody AI, no nothing. He's throwing lines and he's saying, and he's sending. Then he's saying, the video of them pulling, the bags, sometimes too heavy. So he's getting the physics right. So, and he's supplying. Because he has access. You see. So, this was a great eye-opener for me. That people have not lost their humanity. And these are ordinary people, not the companies, not the banks. They don't care. They'll make money out of this crisis. And it's some of these big corporates who are now involved in so-called restructuring. I don't have much faith in them. I have faith in the ordinary people of this country. You see how they rose to the occasion.
Yeah.
That's humanity, Samit. That's humanity. I don't need to say anything more.
So you could, if you say, whenever something worse happens or something, a situation occurs, people are there for you. People are there to back you up.
That's right.
And that is the exact meaning of humanity.
And they don't know. It's not it's humanity is very easy to help your own family. We are all humanity because your father, mother, your own son, your child, you are proof. It's okay. Anybody can do that, but these are unknown people.
Definitely. Strangers helping strangers.
Strangers, because they are human.
It's us for us.
Yeah. That is humanity. Kindness, compassion. I don't even know who you are, dude. But I know you're in need. I'm a little better off. I'll share this with you. So, and it's the people that are the least to give the most. The least to give the most. Some of these billionaires, they can give 100 million. What do you do? They won't feel it. Will they give? No. Are you mad? And those fellows, when they give, they are the ones who take the photographs.
Yeah.
All the companies and all that. How ugly, man. You're helping people and you take pictures and post them.
Yeah.
Nonsense. The Bible says, don't let the right hand know what the left hand is doing. So they use that also to create a bloody brand for themselves. Our CSR and all that. That's not the time for that. That's why some of these people chase the politicians because they want the cameras. Why should other people just give? They are not. Some other fellow is videoing this food going.
Yeah.
Just to show, not because he's going to use that to build a brand for him or herself. So I think that is where I think we need to really look back and see, do we care enough about our fellow human beings and what's going on in the world, and also to find out why did we have all these floods, what's going on, be a little concerned about broader issues. Yeah.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as we near the conclusion of a very successful episode of Mindspark'25, Mr. Almeida, we have one final question for you.
Far away.
And I'm pretty sure everyone watching had this question on their mind. If you had to choose between Dudley Maldenier and Peter D. Almeida, who do you think your heart belongs to more?
Interesting question, but there's no doubt that me and Maldenier are completely different people. I mean, Maldenier is a nasty piece of work. He's a ruthless politician. He'll do anything to get himself into power. He's an opposition leader. He does anything. He'll use even murder to become the prime minister. That's not me. So I'm just the polar opposite. For me, power is a terrible thing, and the less you think of your position as power, the better it is. Even when I was working, I used to, staff and all that, we were, that's why just before this interview when you were talking, I say, call me Peter, So there's no hierarchy, there's no power behind these things. Even in a company, sadly, there's a lot of that power. So that's not me, I try to keep myself humble, because in the grand scheme of things, like if you look at the cosmos and the galaxies and all, we are nobody. I'm just a tiny insignificant part of the human race. But if I can contribute something for the betterment of other people, the larger community, not just me and my family and my 2 daughters, but if I can think of doing something for the betterment of the community, not only in this crisis, but as a part of my life. After all, what is all this for? What is your purpose in life? Are you going to think of the next BYD car or the next, whatever you want to buy? Suppose you have 30 seconds left in life. What will you think of? You're going to think of you might not even think of this interview, right? But supposing in the last 30 seconds before you close your eyes for the final time, if you can say, you know what, I lived during a very difficult time in this country. We had gone through a crisis, we had economic collapse, we had these floods, all that, the world was going through. And I used my talent to address at least one of the many problems faced by humanity. Then you can close your eyes and say, you know what, my life was well lived and my life was worth it.
Wow.
So that's what I would wish all for you to give off your talent, your skills. You all are extremely talented. People look at you. You have some great talent and great skills. You'll be a doctor, but you'll also be a great communicator. Use that skill to ask questions from people like me and others, what's going on, and make a contribution. Pick any topic that's of interest to you, that is bigger than you, and give off your talent and your skills. Then you'll truly think your life was well lived and your life was worth it. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
And your club and all of you.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, well, that brings us to a very successful, interesting, and a very curious interview of Mindspark 2025. On behalf of the General Knowledge Club of Royal College, we extend our sincere appreciation towards Mr. Peter D. Almeida. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
You did a great job.
Thank you very
Wonderful.
much.
Wonderful.
It was an honor to have you here with us. And thank you for the audience for joining us here at Mindspark 2025. With that being said, we end on a very high note. And stay tuned for the next episodes. And this is the General Knowledge Club of Royal College signing off. Thank you and hope you have a great day.